I stood frozen in my driveway, staring at the yard sale signs my mother-in-law, Patricia, was hammering into my lawn. But it wasn't the unauthorized sale that made my blood run cold. It was the sight of my mother's sapphire necklace lying on the costume jewelry $5 table. Patricia, what are you doing? My voice trembled as I rushed toward the table. That necklace isn't for sale. She barely looked up, adjusting price tags on my belongings. Oh, Olivia, don't be dramatic. You never wear it anyway. It's just collecting dust, like everything else in this house. Patricia had moved in with us temporarily 3 months ago after her condo renovation started. Somehow, she turned my home into her personal domain while I was working double shifts at the hospital. It was my mother's last gift to me before she died. I reached for the necklace, but Patricia snatched it first. It's just cheap glass, dear. Your mother worked as a housekeeper. She couldn't afford real jewelry. Her voice dripped with the same condescension she'd shown since I married her son Daniel. Put it back in my jewelry box. Now, I held out my hand. Actually, she smiled that razor-thin smile. I already sold it. That nice antique dealer who stopped by earlier, he took it for $5. Said it was perfect for his granddaughter's dress-up box. The world tilted sideways. You what? It's for the best, really. Time to let go of the past. Now, help me set up these china plates. I didn't hear the rest. I was already running to my car, fumbling with my keys. The antique shops in town would be closing soon. My phone buzzed. Daniel calling. I ignored it. My husband was a wonderful man, but he never could stand up to his mother. She means well, he'd say. She's just set in her ways. The first 2 antique shops were dead ends. At the third, Morgan's Antiques and Collectibles, an elderly man looked up as I burst in. Please, I gasped. Did someone bring in a sapphire necklace today? Silver chain, Art Deco setting. Mr. Morgan adjusted his glasses. Ah, yes, lovely piece. Victorian era, if I'm not mistaken. Pay $5 for it. He chuckled. Quite a deal. It was stolen, I said. It belongs to me. I can prove it. I have pictures. He frowned, reaching beneath the counter. That's concerning. The woman who sold it claimed it was hers to sell. My mother-in-law, I explained, pulling up a photo on my phone. Look, this is me wearing it at my wedding. It was my mother's. He studied the photo, then pulled out a jeweler's loupe. Interesting. Did you know about the inscription? What inscription? Inside the setting. It's microscopic, really. Looks like a series of numbers and letters. Here, take a look. Through the loupe, I could just make out tiny markings I'd never noticed before. My mother had worn this necklace every day until the week before she died, when she'd given it to me with an odd look in her eyes. Keep it safe, she'd said. Everything you need to know is in there. I thought she was delirious from the cancer medications, but now, would you like to know what makes this necklace particularly special? Mr. Morgan asked, his voice gentle. I nodded, unable to speak. These aren't just sapphires. They're Kashmir sapphires, among the rarest in the world. And the setting. This is a Cartier piece, circa 1925. I'd need to verify everything, of course, but this necklace could be worth. The shop door chimed. Patricia stood there, face flushed. Olivia, what are you doing? That costume jewelry isn't worth making a fuss over. Mr. Morgan's eyebrows rose. Costume jewelry? Madam, this piece is worth approximately. Don't. I cut him off. Something in my mother's last words clicked. Everything you need to know is in there. The numbers in the setting. Patricia strode forward. I'm her mother-in-law. There's been a misunderstanding. That necklace belongs to me. Actually, Mr. Morgan said, I believe there may be some question of ownership. Perhaps we should contact the authorities to sort this out. Patricia's face went white. The authorities? Yes, I said slowly, studying the numbers again. In fact, let's call them. I'm sure they'd be very interested in these numbers. They look almost like banking coordinates. My mother had been a housekeeper, yes, for one of the wealthiest families in Europe. She'd never talked about her work, never spent money frivolously, but she'd made sure I got the best education, the best opportunities. And she'd left me this necklace. Patricia's hands shook as she reached for her phone. I'll call Daniel. Good idea, I said, taking a deep breath. While you do that, I'll be calling my mother's old employer in Switzerland. I think it's time I found out exactly what she left me. Mr. Morgan carefully wrapped the necklace in soft cloth. Shall I keep this safe while you make your calls? I nodded, watching Patricia's face grow paler by the second. My mother had always said patience was a virtue. Now I understood why she'd smiled when she told me that. The real story behind her legacy was just beginning to unfold. The Swiss phone number connected after 3 rings. Banque Nationale de Genève. How may I direct your call? I glanced at Patricia, who was frantically whispering into her phone to Daniel. Mr. Morgan had closed his shop early, giving us privacy while maintaining his role as a witness. This is Olivia Bennett. I'm calling about account coordinates found in my mother's necklace. Elena Marie Bennett was her name. The line went quiet for a moment. Then, one moment, Madame Bennett. Transferring you to private client services. A new voice came on, cultured and precise. Madame Bennett, I'm Mr. Dubois. We've been waiting for this call for 7 years. My hands trembled. 7 years? Since my mother died? Precisely. Your mother was more than an employee to the Rothschild family. She was their most trusted confidant. The necklace you have contains coordinates to a private account and a safety deposit box. We'll need the complete sequence to verify your identity. I read the numbers through the jeweler's loop. Mr. Dubois made satisfied noises. Perfect. The DNA test will be the final verification. DNA test? Yes. Your mother was quite thorough in protecting your inheritance. Would tomorrow morning be convenient? Our representative is already in your city. I caught Patricia's stunned expression and felt a surge of satisfaction. Tomorrow morning would be perfect. After ending the call, I turned to my mother-in-law. Would you like to explain why you really sold my necklace? Her facade cracked. I heard your mother talking to someone on the phone the week before she died. Something about Swiss banks and security codes. I thought she was delirious, but then I saw her giving you that necklace. So you waited 7 years, moved into my house, and staged a yard sale to steal it. Steal is such an ugly word, she sniffed. I was merely investigating. The shop door opened. Daniel rushed in, looking between us frantically. What's going on? Mom said there was some problem with an old necklace. Your mother sold my mother's necklace without permission, I said calmly. A necklace that apparently contains access codes to a Swiss bank account. Daniel's face fell. Mom, you didn't? Oh, don't be naive. Patricia snapped. That woman was just a housekeeper. Whatever money she had must have been stolen. Really, we should be reporting this to authorities. Mr. Morgan, who'd been quietly observing, spoke up. The only theft here was the unauthorized sale of this necklace. Shall I show you the security footage of you claiming ownership? Patricia's mouth opened and closed soundlessly. The Rothschild family, I said quietly. That's who my mother worked for. She wasn't just their housekeeper, she was their confidant. And tomorrow I'm meeting with their representative. Daniel moved to my side, where he should have been all along. I'm so sorry, Olivia. I had no idea my mother would do something like this. Didn't you? I asked. She's been trying to undermine me since we got married. Always hinting about my background, my mother's job, how I wasn't good enough for you. What do you want me to do? He asked. I looked at Patricia, who was now sitting heavily in an antique chair. I want her out of our house. Tonight. But where will I go? Patricia sputtered. My condo isn't ready. The renovation was completed 2 months ago, Daniel said, surprising us all. The property manager called me weeks ago. Patricia's face turned red. You ungrateful. Enough. Daniel's voice was firm. You sold something precious that belonged to my wife. You violated our trust. We're done. Mr. Morgan cleared his throat. I can call you a taxi, madam. As Patricia was led out, still protesting, I carefully picked up my mother's necklace. The sapphires caught the light, revealing depths I'd never noticed before. There's something else, Mr. Morgan said once Patricia was gone. The craftsmanship of this piece, it's remarkable. The way the stones are set, it's almost as if. He grabbed his tools, examining the largest sapphire. With expert precision, he pressed something, and the stone swung open on a tiny hinge. Inside was a microchip. Daniel whistled softly. Your mother wasn't just a confidant, was she? I'm starting to think there was a lot I didn't know about her, I replied, thinking of her quiet strength, her insistence on teaching me multiple languages, The way she'd made sure I learned about art, finance, and world politics. My phone buzzed. A text from an international number. Madame Bennett, your DNA test is scheduled for 9 a.m. tomorrow at the Grand Hotel. Please bring the necklace and chip. Welcome to the family legacy. What are you thinking? Daniel asked, squeezing my hand. I touched the necklace gently. I'm thinking my mother left me more than just money. She left me a mystery to solve. Mr. Morgan carefully packaged the necklace in a secure box. Whatever your mother protected all these years, she made sure it would only be found by someone worthy. Someone patient enough to wait, smart enough to understand, and strong enough to stand up for themselves. As we left the shop, I held the box close. Tomorrow would bring answers, but for now, I had something even more valuable. The knowledge that my mother had trusted me with her true legacy, whatever it might be. Patricia's greed had unknowingly set in motion exactly what my mother had planned all along. The Grand Hotel's private conference room felt worlds away from yesterday's chaotic scene at the antique shop. I sat across from Mr. Dubois, who had flown in overnight from Geneva, while a distinguished-looking woman in a lab coat processed my DNA sample. The results will take just a few minutes, she said, inserting the sample into a portable analyzer. Our technology has advanced significantly since your mother's time with us. Daniel squeezed my hand under the table. We barely slept last night, discussing the possibilities of what my mother had protected all these years. Mr. Dubois carefully examined the microchip from the necklace. Remarkable. Your mother was instrumental in developing the security system. The Rothschild family trusted her with their most sensitive information. But she was just. I stopped myself. She was never just anything. A housekeeper. Mr. Dubois smiled. That was her cover. Eleanor Bennett was one of our most valuable security consultants. The housekeeper role allowed her to move through high society unnoticed, protecting family interests while gathering intelligence on potential threats. The DNA analyzer beeped. The woman checked the results and nodded to Mr. Dubois. Excellent, he said, pressing his fingertip to the microchip. A holographic display suddenly projected above the table, showing a series of documents and images. Your mother designed this system herself, he explained. It requires 3 keys: the physical chip, DNA verification, and my authorization as trustee. Now let me show you your inheritance. The first document made me gasp. It was a certificate of shares in the Rothschild International Trust, dated the year I was born. Your mother was offered a traditional salary, Mr. Dubois explained. She chose instead to receive payment in shares, which she held for you. The current value is approximately. He named a figure that made Daniel's jaw drop. But that's just the financial aspect, he continued. The real inheritance is this. The hologram shifted to show a complex organizational chart. Your mother created a security network protecting some of Europe's most influential families. She trained a select group of operatives who continue her work. They've been waiting for you. Waiting for me. Eleanor believed that true security required a perfect balance of intelligence and compassion. She saw those qualities in you. The network needs a new director. I stared at the chart, recognizing some of the most powerful names in Europe. You want me to run this? Your mother prepared you your entire life, the languages she taught you, the education she insisted upon, the way she trained you to observe and analyze. You've been in training since childhood. Memories flooded back, Mom teaching me to read people's expressions, to notice small details, to understand the complexities of international finance. All those games we played were lessons. There's more, the woman in the lab coat spoke up. The DNA test revealed something else. Something your mother knew would eventually come to light. She handed me another document. As I read it, the room seemed to spin. I'm actually a Rothschild, Mr. Dubois confirmed. Your mother was more than an employee. She was family. Your father knew you would be safer living a quiet life until you were ready to learn the truth. Daniel looked stunned but squeezed my hand supportively. What happens now? I asked. That depends on you, Mr. Dubois replied. You can claim your inheritance and take your place in the family, running the security network your mother built. Or you can walk away with the financial inheritance alone. Eleanor was adamant that you have a choice. I thought about my mother's quiet strength, her dedication to helping others while staying in the background. I thought about Patricia's dismissive attitude and how wrong she'd been about everything. The network, I said firmly, show me everything. Mr. Du Bois smiled. Your mother said you choose this path. She left you a letter for this moment. He handed me an envelope, my mother's familiar handwriting bringing tears to my eyes. My dearest Olivia, if you're reading this, you've discovered who you truly are, not just my daughter, but a protector of others. The necklace wasn't just jewelry or a key to wealth. It was a test. You had to be strong enough to stand up for what's yours, smart enough to solve the puzzle, and compassionate enough to deserve the responsibility that comes with power. Your father and I agreed that you needed to grow up away from the family name, free to become your own person. Now it's time to choose who you want to be. Remember, true power isn't in wealth or status, but in how we protect those who need us. I'm so proud of you. Love, Mom. I folded the letter carefully, looking at Daniel. This will change everything. He smiled. You've always been extraordinary. Now you just have a bigger platform to show it. Mr. Du Bois cleared his throat. Shall we begin your orientation? The network is eager to meet Eleanor Bennett's daughter. I touched my mother's necklace, now understanding why she wore it every day. It wasn't just jewelry, it was a symbol of protection, of service, of legacy. Yes, I said. Show me everything. It's time to continue my mother's work. And somewhere, I knew Mom was smiling, watching her daughter finally step into the role she'd been preparing for all along. Patricia's petty attempt to steal a worthless necklace had unknowingly unveiled my true inheritance. Not just wealth, but purpose. Sometimes the biggest truths come disguised in the simplest packages, waiting for the right moment to be revealed.